Hi, everybody. Just to now we have a little bit of technical difficulty, so please just stay where you are, and we will start in a couple of minutes. Sorry for the inconvenience. Thank you. Hi, so everybody. There is a technical difficulty on Jody. My name is Hiroko. I'm a financial empowerment facilitator. While Jody is trying to get back on this webinar series, I will start the webinar. So just hold on for a second. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for coming today. And I'm so sorry about technical difficulty. And we always appreciate all of you and coming to this holiday, the holiday budget. So Momentum is working with people living on low incomes and work with community people to create a thriving local economy for all. And this webinar is only 20 minutes, and we do try to answer question if you have. Then please use your question and answer function. So should be there is a kind of function button on your screen. So please write your question. And if the question is something somewhat your question, maybe you can kind of like it as well, then there are not going to be too many questions. And also, like everybody's muted while I'm speaking, and after that, if you need to, then you can unmute yourself. Okay, so here is. Please bear with me. I'm going to go through here. So, what is budget? I hope everybody kind of had some idea around the budget. So, first step in setting up your holiday budget is to figure out how much you can afford to spend in total. And ideally, this amount should come entirely out of your available cash and savings. So you don't have to rely on debt at all after. So oftentimes we do have a bit of like a hiccup on what do you call that? Sort of January and then so much like a payment coming in and I have to scramble. So it'll be really kind of good to know how much you have, how much you can spend. First, so looking at the money you've already set aside, expressingly for holiday expenses. Perhaps you have been stashing away a little money each month in Christmas fund or saving challenge in change in a jar or something like that. So it'll be like kind of nice to have some sort of set aside just for Christmas. And also, like, Christmas is not only buying gift and giving gift, maybe different way of giving sort of like your gift as well. So could be making something or now because of the COVID, but be able to like pick up the phone and hi, how are you doing? Spending a little bit of time can be your gift as well. So many people staying house and not be able to communicate. So that would be really nice gesture as well. So this year sounds like a quite unique Christmas. And if you don't have any dedicated holiday savings, consider what other sources of money you have to draw on. So include things like your year-end bonus from your job, money in your savings account that isn't earmarked for other financial goals. Also, think about how much money you can squeeze out of this month's and household budget after paying all your regular expenses. And adding up, the total is amount you have to spend on Christmas, Hanukkah, and all of the things and whatever that like a celebration you are kind of enjoying as a with family and loved ones, hopefully all of the things can be taken care of. And also, a friend of mine told me about use your point. So review your point from point cards, air miles, whatever, like a shopping and getting a points, and maybe you can use that for getting gift or gift cards or something like that. So budget is not a diet; it's a plan for your money. Plan, plan, plan. So always you wanted to plan. So write it down. So there is a lot of Pinterest that have a Christmas budget template. Why not use the Christmas template? So it could be more food that you need and a Christmas shopping, Christmas decoration, all that kind of stuff. So you can list it out what you really need to purchase going forward. Then you can kind of looking at and stick to that plan. So when you budget, you have a plan for your money. So budget is a term that people not quite like it, but you could do budget for, um, like you can call as a spending plan. Money is to spend. So it's a plan. Really easy and straightforward. Feel less stress and more in control. So if you all the elements are in a paper or spreadsheet, that's all you concern about. So more you can think about and make the list that's so realistic, then that's all you concern about. So stick to that plan. Focus on your goals and the things that are important to you. So, what that mean is maybe like, what is the goal to achieve this Christmas time? Maybe like, you wanted to get those things for your children or your loved ones. But what is really important to you? If you are interested in that concept, we do offer consumerism workshop through money management. So please attend. Those are great. Oh, just hold on a second. Oh, there you go. Here is our presenter came back. So I'm going to, yeah, pass on
Say
to you.
sayonara. That sounds great.
That's
Hey,
right.
y'all, you know what? Like, what are we going to do with the internet? My whole house shut down, like lights and all. So it wasn't just like something wonky. I can't blame my teenagers. Something happened somewhere. And so I had to go and check out and of course, it happens on a day I can't blame them because none of them are here. So I don't know how to set up the internet. Like, come on. So anyways, it seems to be working again. Hiroko, you are on this slide, when you budget you. And we've already talked about questions and if anybody needs anything, what to do there. I'm going to assume. Okay, perfect. So I'll take over, even though I am 100% sure Hiroko had this just fine, but I will gladly take over for you now.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. So, you know what, y'all? When you budget, you have a plan for your money, right? You feel less stressed. You feel way more in control of what's happening. And you're really able to focus on your goals and things that are important to you, right? And I think that's really one of the most important parts about budgeting is, that you feel less stressed. You feel more in control. You're able to focus on your goals, right? And it really just like it says here, helps you have a plan for your money, right? And just have plans for the future. And so that's important to do when we're thinking about holiday times, right? Having a plan for our money, knowing what we're going to do over the holiday, feeling less stressed. I so often say that I hate Christmas, and it really is. It's not that I hate Christmas itself, it's that I don't like the stress. I don't like all of the anticipation going up to it, the fear, the anxiety, right? And so I've learned, budgeting and really having a plan can help you with that. Okay. Hiroko, next slide, please. So let's look at some different steps to creating a holiday budget. And I found some great tips that I'm really excited to go through. Go ahead to the next slide. So the first step really is set a spending limit, y'all, okay? And so what I mean by that is, really looking at how much it is that you can spend, right? So the first step really in setting up any holiday budget is figuring out how much you can afford to spend in total, okay? Because if we break it down into, I can spend this much on Johnny and this much on Sally, it can get very quickly out of control and we aren't able to control it. So think about how much you can spend in total, right? And ideally, this amount should come entirely out of what you have available, right? What you have available for cash, or if you have any savings, right? It's tough to have to rely on credit. So it's really important to try and mitigate that by having cash available or savings, right? So look at all of the money that you maybe have already set aside expressly for holiday expenses. Maybe you've been stashing away a little bit each month. Maybe you've been putting it in a savings account. You've been hiding it under your mattress, whatever it is, okay? If you don't have dedicated holiday savings, consider what other sources of money you have to draw on, right? So this might be, do you get a year-end bonus from your job, right? Do you have some savings and money in a savings account that might not already be allocated? Okay. Or is there any other way you can look at some other household expenses to really break down some of your budget? Okay. And then add it all up, right? And the total is the amount that you have to spend on Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever holidays you're going to spend or celebrate this next little while. Then you can really look at all of the money that you already have and then find out how you're going to use it. Okay, so the challenge really is to fit all of your spending within that limit, right? Okay, next slide, Hiroko. And the next thing you really want to do is list your expenses, y'all. And often we forget about some of these expenses that I'm going to talk about here. Okay, so let's have a look at them, right? Once you know how much you have to spend, the next step you're going to need to do really is figure out what it is you're going to spend it on, right? Write a list. Okay, and really you want to think about everything. So gifts, all of the people that you plan to buy presents for. Okay, even if there's hostess gifts, maybe secret Santa gifts at work, that's one that we often will forget. right? Don't forget small items like stocking stuffers. These are things that we often don't think about and remember, okay? So it's really important just to remember, think about all of the gifts. Wrapping paper and trimming, y'all. We got to wrap those gifts. And we sometimes forget that, and maybe we don't have a stash from last year. So really be aware. Do you have any cards that you're going to mail out, right? What kind of food? I know personally myself, my grocery bill increases almost double in December, just because for some reason I have this belief that we need to eat all the food in December. Okay, so really think about what kind of food does your budget need to increase there. Okay, decorations. Is there some decorations that you might need? That includes a Christmas tree. If you are one who celebrates Christmas and you buy a fresh tree every year, do you need more lights or candles for Hanukkah or Kwanzaa? Any of these things, right? So you really want to be aware of, do you have to buy any more decorations? Okay, again, Christmas clothing. So definitely we won't be going out and getting together in large parties, office parties where we might not need fancy dress, but my sister's putting together an online family party, and we were gonna all wear matching, or not matching, but funny or ugly Christmas sweaters, right? Something that we might need to buy, right? Online, maybe you're having some sort of theme, right? So really keep that in mind. Do you have any travel expenses? Now, surely we're not all traveling around the world and going to see everybody this year just because of what's happening, but maybe we are, right? Maybe we have to go somewhere. You never know what's going to come up. Okay. Other holiday activities, right? So are there movies or are there plays? You can order a Christmas Carol online and watch it online this year, right? Is there anywhere that you want to take your kids? Do you have a tradition? Some people go to the movies on Christmas Day, whatever it might be, all of these expenses, okay? And do you have any charitable giving that you engage in during this time, right? So really, you want to think about all of the different expenses that you might have, okay? And after you've made your list, check it twice and make sure that there's no expenses that you've missed, right? You really want to be aware of everything, okay? And if possible, you could even have a line of your expenses marked other, because you just never know. Things come up, don't they, randomly, and we often don't even realize it. Okay, next slide, please, Sirocco. And once we've looked at our expenses and really laid them out, we then want to set priorities, right? So don't panic, because often we might look at our expenses and think, oh, this is so long. How am I going to buy for all these people and all these things, right? And if there's no way that you can cover every item, then just look at what's important to you. Okay, that just means you need to set some priorities in your life and set some priorities for your Christmas or Kwanzaa celebration holiday expenditures. Okay, so you want to maybe go through your list, right, and number them based on how important they are to you. Assign the number one obviously to your top and go down, right? And then you can really look at what expense is most important to you and what ones do you want to prioritize. Okay, and really just look at what divvying up your holiday budget looks like. Okay, maybe you decide that giving is your top priority, right? Where holiday clothes might be lower down on that priority sequence. So really just think about what all these different items are and give them priority in your budget, okay? You can even cut different things, right? Like clothing, or you priorities that you have. Next slide, please. And then what you want to do next is you allocate your funds, okay? So it's really about the nuts. Now we're really looking at the nuts and the bolts of budgeting here, okay? Figuring out how much money to put towards each item on your list, right? And you want to examine your list more than once, right? Just to estimate how much you plan on spending on each money or each item, sorry. And then try and keep your numbers realistic, y'all, because often where we think our money's going or how much we think we're going to spend and how much we do spend, they don't line up, right? So try and be realistic. Okay, so like, for example, if you've got 30 people on your list, it's not reasonable to assume that you can buy presents for all of them, right? You might want to, on a budget of $100, right? You might want to look at how much can I spend? How many people can I, cut down? I've been crocheting like a mad woman for the past little while, trying to come up with different things to give people. My family's worked hard to make Christmas cards, like all of the different things that you could maybe do instead of spending money. Okay. And then on the other hand, don't go overboard and be over generous with your estimates either, right? You want to think about maybe you need that ugly Christmas sweater for your online party with your family, but you don't necessarily have to assign $150 to that, right? I mean, you can get some ugly Christmas sweaters for, reasonable prices out there. You just got to shop the sales. So just be realistic and really think about how much each item might cost, right? And how much you really want to allocate to each item. Next slide, please. And the next thing you want to do is adjust the numbers, right? So when you add up all the amounts that you've allotted for the items on your list, there's a chance that the total might be a little bit larger than you actually have, right? When you think back to step one, right, you might have a little bit larger of a list or bigger numbers than you have allocated in step one. And if that happens, just look at it, right? Look at different places where you can make changes, okay? And one way to do this is to look at the different priorities, right? And then decide, how am I going to adjust these priorities, right? So a couple of different examples might be, go to that garage sale, have a garage sale, online Facebook market, sell some things maybe that you don't want anymore, okay? You can give your holiday savings a boost for sure by doing that, right? Give up on an indulgence. That's a big one, right? Maybe look at what kind of little treats do I normally engage in? Do I have fancy drink Friday every week? Do I, go out for dinner once a week? Whatever these little indulgences are, and see if there's a different thing you might want to do for December, right? Just change it up a little bit. Okay. You can always get another job if you'd like. Everywhere is hiring, even though it's, during this downtime right now, there's still lots of places that are hiring for little side jobs, right, over this holiday season. So have a look and find out if there's one that you can engage with. Okay. Next slide, please, Hiroko. And the next thing we want to do really now, because maybe you've built this great budget and you've got all these wonderful plans, but how are you really going to make it work? You're going to stick to it. Okay. And how do you do that? There's a couple of different ways, really, right? So getting your budget down on paper, it doesn't mean our job is over, y'all. It doesn't mean our job is over. We still need to keep track of our spending and stick to our budget as we shop. Okay. And by keeping a running tally of how much you've spent in each category, it helps you know how much you have left to spend, right? So that's another big tip there. Okay. Set up a separate bank account, maybe, right? Specifically for holiday spending. And that can help you stay within your budget, right? Make sure you pay attention to your total sum and your spending limit. Okay. Make sure that you are, keeping track of how much you're spending. There's lots of tools to keep track of your spending, even within the different categories, right? There's the envelope system, of course. Maybe you put in presents here, Christmas decorations in this envelope, wrapping paper in this envelope, and you know how much you've spent from each one. Okay, that's a great way to track your expenses. If that doesn't work for you, maybe you make an Excel spreadsheet. Maybe you have a couple of different savings accounts, whatever it is, but just find a way to keep track of your money, right? Adjust your expectations, okay? We often have a lot larger expectations than we are able to stomach, really, just because we get so excited and we just want the holidays to be nice for our family. Shop smart, shop local, y'all, right? Do it yourself, like it says there. Make some crafts. Create traditions that cost less, or maybe they're even free, right? Have family game night, hot chocolate drinking race, whatever these different things are. Create different traditions that don't cost as much for you and your family, right? Honestly, making that list and sticking to your spending plan that you have created is really probably the largest tip. Okay. If you can make that list and stick to it, you're more likely to achieve your budget goals through this holiday season. Next slide, please, Hiroko. And then the last thing is you want to evaluate it, right? You want to recheck your budget. You want to look, make sure that you have a savings plan for next year. You want to see if you had to incur any debt, if you had to use any credit. Start looking at what that strategy for paying that off will look like for you in the new year. And then how can you save so that maybe next year you don't have to have credit, right? You don't have to use credit to engage in holiday fun. Next slide, please. So let's stop and think about this, right? There's a couple of ways that you can also stick to your budget, and they are, Karoko, you want to click through them for me? You want to think about, is this a good value, right? Is this the best price when you're thinking about these presents or these decorations, these things that you want to get for your family members or your friends, right? Think about, is there something else that I won't be able to buy? And this is kind of where the priorities come into play, right? Think about, is there anything else that I might need? Okay. Another good question that I like to ask is, how many hours will I have had to work in order to buy this product, right? That's a really big question to ask yourself when you're looking at shopping, okay, for your holidays. Next slide, please. So I really want to thank y'all, and I'm so sorry for the technical issues that I had with my house seeming to just shut down around me. I felt a little bit like, what's that show on Netflix? Stranger Things was happening around me, but luckily I was able to get it up and get to talk with you guys. Before I sign off and say goodbye, does anybody have any questions, or are there any comments that anybody kind of wants to make regarding making a holiday budget? Okay, I'll stick around for a few more minutes, but I did also want to mention that on December 16th, going into this season of holiday, like I said, creating a budget really helps with your stress. It helps you feel more relaxed and more in control. And so the next topic we're going to do is money and mental health, right? How does financial wellness affect your mental health? And I think it's a fantastic topic during this season to be able to just help people understand how financial wellness can affect our mental health. So if you've registered for today's, you're already registered. So feel free to just go ahead and join. Or if you know anybody that would benefit from it, please pass this information on. I did just notice a question for the wrapping paper. Oh, that's a great idea, Cheyenne, using old newspapers. And then you could even decorate them yourself, right? You can color them or stick them or do whatever you'd like. That's a fantastic idea. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, y'all. Thank you again. It's so sunny outside. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday season. And again, if you have any questions or if you need anything at all, feel free to visit us at momentum.org. You can reach out and we can definitely help you achieve your budgeting goals through this holiday season. Take care. Goodbye.